Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're taking a closer look at Josie Balka after a dramatic change to her signature look unexpectedly turned into a much bigger conversation. Her latest video appears to be all about one thing, saying goodbye to her incredibly long blonde hair and embracing a much shorter style. But once fans started reacting, the haircut itself was only part of the story. A familiar name quickly entered the discussion, bringing an older debate back into focus. And what makes this especially interesting is that some of the people making the comparison did not necessarily put Josie at a disadvantage. In fact, a few ended up arguing that the new look might suit Josie even better. So what exactly sparked all of this, and why did Carlin become part of the conversation? Let's take a closer look. Josie Balka's transformation begins with a clear before and after moment. At the start of the video, she shows off the incredibly long blonde hair that has been such a recognizable part of her appearance for years. Then, with a quick transition, that familiar look is gone. In its place is dramatically shorter hair that falls around her shoulders, styled in soft waves with noticeable texture and movement. Josie smiles at the camera, plays with the new cut, and turns to show it from different angles. Across the video, the words "power of a bob" make it clear that the haircut is the main attraction. And Josie certainly does not seem hesitant about showing it off. The difference is striking because so much of Josie's previous look centered around the length of her hair. Her blonde locks were one of the first things people could notice, while the new style opens up her face and brings more attention to her features. It is not an extremely short, chin-length bob. Instead, it sits around her shoulders, with soft waves, volume, and front pieces that frame her face. Josie repeatedly runs her hands through it and adjusts the front sections as she shows off the finished style. Compared with the extremely long hair shown at the beginning, the transformation is impossible to miss. Many people noticed the change for exactly the reason Josie probably hoped they would. A number of commenters immediately praised the shorter style, with some saying they actually preferred it to her previous look. One person called the haircut cute on her, while another admitted they loved it on Josie. Someone else said the bob looked amazing and suited her features better. Some viewers also felt Josie's hair appeared healthier after losing so much length. For those people, the haircut did not look like a regrettable decision. It looked like a fresh change that worked surprisingly well. But not everyone was ready to say goodbye to Josie's long blonde hair. Some viewers felt the previous style was one of the things that made her distinctive. One commenter described her old hair as the most beautiful hair, while others simply preferred the length they were used to seeing. Then came a sharper criticism from someone who complained that Josie now looked like every other fundy going for a bob. That reaction was less about whether the haircut was flattering and more about individuality. In their view, Josie may have traded one of her most recognizable features for a style that feels much more common. There was even a debate over what the haircut should technically be called. Because the new length falls around Josie's shoulders, some commenters argued that it is really more of a lob than a bob. One person pointed out that a bob is not shoulder length, while others focused more on the layers and styling. Still, bob remained the obvious label because Josie herself used the phrase "power of a bob" in the video. Whatever viewers choose to call it, the bigger question was whether the new style actually suited her. That question became much more interesting when Carlin's name entered the conversation. Some followers immediately connected Josie's shorter hair to Carlin, with one commenter accusing the sisters of copying each other. Others said they wished Josie had chosen a different length because the haircut instantly reminded them of Carlin. Suddenly, the discussion was no longer just about whether Josie looked good. It became part of a familiar comparison between the two sisters. For some critics, the haircut was simply another example in a longer list. Josie and Carlin have previously been compared over similarities in their content, dream home updates, and even the Disney cruise. Now, hair had been added to that list. That made some followers feel like they were seeing another piece of an existing pattern. But other commenters were not convinced that Josie was deliberately following Carlin. They suggested that Josie simply likes current trends, and that two sisters having similar tastes is hardly surprising. that argument is difficult to ignore. Josie and Carlin are sisters, so overlapping interests and preferences do not automatically mean one is copying the other. They can like the same styles or follow the same trends without either person deliberately imitating the other. A bob or lob is also hardly an unusual haircut. Unless Josie herself says Carlin inspired the change, there is no clear evidence that the haircut was chosen because of her sister. For now, the copycat idea remains a fan interpretation rather than something confirmed by Josie. But then the comparison produced an unexpected result. Instead of simply criticizing Josie for looking like Carlin, some commenters began arguing that Josie actually pulls off the shorter style better. One person pointed to Josie's apparently thicker hair, suggesting that the extra fullness helps the cut hold its shape and gives it more volume. Others felt the shorter style highlighted Josie's features in a more flattering way. Suddenly, the conversation shifted from "is Josie copying Carlin?" to something much more interesting. If the styles are similar, who actually wears the look better? Of course, there was no universal agreement. Some people still preferred Carlin's longer hair, while others liked Carlin's shorter style. There were also commenters who felt neither sister should automatically be considered better, because hair texture, facial features, and styling can completely change how a similar cut looks. But the disagreement itself made the comparison more interesting. What began as criticism of Josie's originality ended up giving her some surprisingly strong compliments. The scrutiny did not stop with the haircut. Some commenters also criticized Josie's poses, facial expressions, and the way she presented the transformation. A few mocked those moments, while others felt the video leaned too heavily into a familiar social media formula. For these viewers, the issue was not necessarily whether Josie looked good with shorter hair. It was more about how carefully packaged the makeover appeared. And once again, those reactions fed into the larger question of originality that had already surrounded the Carlin comparison. Still, looking at the overall reaction, it would be difficult to say that fans simply disliked Josie's makeover. Plenty of commenters genuinely liked the shorter style, thought it suited her features, and felt her hair looked healthier after losing so much length. The biggest controversy came when Carlin entered the conversation, and an older debate about the sisters' similarities resurfaced. Some followers saw the haircut as another example of a pattern, while others saw nothing unusual about two sisters having similar tastes. And perhaps the biggest twist is that the comparison did not necessarily hurt Josie. Some of the very people discussing Carlin ended up saying Josie might actually look better with the shorter style. So what started as a debate about copying turned into a debate about who wears the look best. Josie may have intended the video to showcase the power of a bob, but the reaction became much bigger than the haircut itself. Now, the more interesting question may be whether this style reminds people of Carlin, or whether Josie has managed to make the look feel completely her own. What do you think about Josie's latest look? Do you think the comparisons to Carlin are fair, or are fans taking the similarities too far? And if the two styles really are that similar, who do you think pulls off the look better? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this update, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for more updates. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.